picture this. It's 1924, a cramped, greasy spoon in Pasadena, California. The air is thick with smoke and the chatter of hungry customers. A 16-year-old kid, probably exhausted, is manning the grill. He flips a burger patty, and he messes up. He burns it. In that moment, most of us would toss it out, start over. But this kid, he does something different. Something that will echo through drive-ins, diners, and fine dining restaurants for the next century. He grabs a slice of American cheese and slaps it on top of the burnt patty, hiding the mistake. And just like that, he serves the first cheeseburger in history. But here's the thing. Did he really? Or was it someone else? A homeless man? A rival in Denver? Or a restaurant in Kentucky? Welcome back to TheInventIQ. I'm your host, and today we are sinking our teeth into a story that is juicier than a double-double. We're talking about the cheeseburger. You've eaten hundreds of them, maybe thousands. But do you know the insane, contested, and truly American story of how it came to be? In the next 15 minutes, we're going to uncover the teenage rebel, the patent wars, the religious controversies, and the surprising science that turned this crazy California novelty into the undisputed king of menus worldwide. Let's go. To understand the magic of the cheeseburger, we have to rewind just a little bit further. Before the cheese could melt, the patty had to exist. By the late 19th century, the vast grasslands of the American Great Plains had been opened for cattle ranching. This meant one thing: beef was no longer a luxury. It was everywhere. It was affordable. Imagine you're living in a bustling American city in the 1880s. You're hungry, you're short on time, and you don't have a lot of money. What do you eat? You grab a Hamburg-style chopped beef steak, often served raw or minced, that German immigrants brought with them. But it wasn't until the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis that the hamburger as we know it, the patty on a bun, exploded into the public consciousness. It was cheap, it was filling, and it was fast. So, by the Roaring '20s, the hamburger was already a star. It was the working man's lunch, the kid's treat. But it was simple. It was good, but was it great? It was missing something. It was missing that gooey, fatty, salty, glorious something. It was waiting for a hero, or in this case, a teenager with a short-order cook's desperation. His name was Lionel Clark Sternberger, and in 1924, he was working at his father's sandwich shop called The Right Spot in Pasadena, California. Now, the stories vary, and that's what makes history fun. One version says he was just experimenting, a kid playing with food. He experimentally dropped a slab of American cheese on a sizzling hamburger. But there's another story, a better story. A hobo, a homeless man, wandered into The Right Spot. He had exactly 15 cents, and he wanted the most bang for his buck. He asked the young Lionel to put everything he had on the burger. Or, the more popular legend, Lionel burnt the patty. Instead of taking the loss, he covered his mistake with a slice of cheese and served it anyway. Can you imagine being that customer? You order a burger and some kid brings you a weird-looking thing with a melting slab on top. You'd probably think it was a mistake, but it wasn't. The combination was electric. The saltiness of the cheese mixing with the beef fat, it was alchemy. Lionel's father saw the potential immediately. They put it on the menu. They didn't call it a cheeseburger at first. Oh no, they gave it a hilariously fancy name, the aristocratic hamburger, the original hamburger with cheese. And it cost a little more, of course. The die was cast. The crazy novelty was born. But would it stay in Pasadena? Absolutely not. Now, here's where the story gets messy, and I love a good food fight. News of this cheese hamburger started to spread. It was an idea so simple, so perfect, that everyone wished they had thought of it. And soon, everyone started claiming they did. Let's hop across the country to Louisville, Kentucky, 1934. Carl Kalin, who ran Kalin's restaurant, claimed he came up with the idea independently. He was feeding a lot of kids from the University of Louisville, and he decided to throw on some cheese and see what would happen. They are so confident they have plaques all over the place calling their joint the birthplace of the cheeseburger. But wait. Head west to Denver, Colorado, 1935. A guy named Louis Ballast owns the Humpty Dumpty Drive-In. Now, Louis was a mad scientist. Before settling on cheese, he experimented with everything: peanut butter, chocolate bars, seriously. He had a customer who was apparently obsessed with his peanut butter burger. But peanut butter doesn't melt the same way, Louis. He finally landed on cheese. And here's the kicker. Louis Ballast did something the others didn't. He went to the patent office and trademarked the name Cheeseburger. That's right. In 1935, the word itself became official property, even though he never really enforced it. So, who is the real inventor? Sternberger in 24, Kalin in 34, or the guy who made it official, Ballast in 35? The truth is, the cheeseburger is less an invention and more of a spontaneous nationwide realization. It was an idea whose time had come. Okay, let's take a quick break from the history books and get into the kitchen. Why did this work? Why is a cheeseburger so much more than just a hamburger with a topping? It's chemistry, baby. When you bite into a cheeseburger, you're experiencing a perfect umami bomb. Beef is rich in glutamates. Cheese, especially aged cheeses like cheddar or processed American cheese, which is packed with sodium citrate, is also full of glutamates and nucleotides. When they combine, they don't just add up, they multiply. Think about the texture. The fat from the cheese binds with the fat from the meat, creating a richness that coats your tongue. The salt in the cheese sharpens the flavor of the beef, and that melt? That's the cheese's proteins and fats separating and then recombining in a glorious, gooey layer. It's a textural handshake between the bun and the patty. It's not just food, it's food science. So, when you judge a burger joint, you're not just being picky. You are instinctively judging the success of this beautiful chemical reaction. And in the 1920s, Lionel Sternberger stumbled onto it by accident. Post-World War II America was a country in love with its cars, and nothing went better with a V8 engine than a V8 patty. The drive-in culture exploded, and the cheeseburger was the star of the show. It was slightly more luxurious than a regular burger, a sign that you were treating yourself, even for a quarter. This is where the chains stepped in. Steak and Shake, founded by Gus Belt, was griddling them up. And then, of course, there was McDonald's. While they started with just burgers, the cheeseburger quickly became a staple. But McDonald's added a twist that changed the game: consistency. You could be in California, New York, or eventually Tokyo, and you knew exactly what a McDonald's cheeseburger would taste like. Quick fact. In 1963, Dale Mulder, who owned an A&W franchise in Lansing, Michigan, got a customer who kept asking for bacon on his cheeseburger, over and over. Finally, Dale gave in, and the bacon cheeseburger was added to the menu. Today, it's hard to imagine one without the other. The cheeseburger wasn't just surviving, it was evolving. But as this American icon spread across the globe, it hit a wall, a very old wall, in Jerusalem. Judaism observes kashrut, or kosher laws. A core rule repeated in the book of Exodus and Deuteronomy forbids the mixing of milk and meat. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. And what is a cheeseburger? It is the ultimate symbol of milk, cheese, and meat, beef, together. So when McDonald's, the global ambassador of the cheeseburger, started opening franchises in Jerusalem in the 1990s, all hell broke loose. Serving a cheeseburger in a place where the very concept is religiously taboo was a massive controversy. Here was this symbol of American culture clashing directly with 3,000-year-old tradition. The solution? McDonald's in Israel had to adapt. They opened separate locations, some kashrut, serving only meat, no cheese, and some non-kashrut, serving the full menu. Even in New York, kosher restaurants have tried to create cheeseburgers using soy cheese or other non-dairy substitutes to mimic the taste without breaking the law. It shows just how powerful this combination is. It's so desirable that people invented entirely new foods just to have a version of it. All right, before we wrap this up, I have to hit you with some facts that will make you the most interesting person at your next barbecue. Fact number 1, the 2,000-pound monster. In 2012, the Black Bear Casino in Minnesota decided to get hungry. They built the largest cheeseburger ever made. We're talking 2,014 pounds. That's a ton of burger. It needed 60 pounds of bacon and 40 pounds of cheese just to cover it. If you want to buy a commercially available giant, you can head to Mally's in Michigan and drop $10,000 on their 1,800-pound beast. You have to pay in advance, though. They don't want anyone dying and dashing on a $10,000 burger. Fact number 2, the Oscar night secret. You know what the biggest stars eat after the Academy Awards? They don't go to a 5-star restaurant. They line up for In-N-Out. For over 30 years, the Vanity Fair Oscar party has been serving cheeseburgers. It started as a food truck for the crew, but the celebs got jealous. Now you'll see A-listers like Steven Spielberg taking pictures of his burger before he eats it. It's the official meal of Hollywood. Fact number 3, the emoji war. In 2017, Google released a new cheeseburger emoji, and they made a terrible mistake. They put the cheese under the patty. The internet, as it does, lost its collective mind. People were outraged. Where was the melt? How do you even see the cheese? The debate got so intense that Google actually fixed it a few months later, putting the cheese on top where it belongs. Fact number 4, 50 billion a year. Americans alone eat about 50 billion burgers annually. That's 50 billion chances to experience that perfect bite. And the favorite cheese by a landslide? It's still American cheese. 70% of people prefer it over fancy options like cheddar or Swiss. So, from a burnt patty in a Pasadena sandwich shop to the most star-studded party in Hollywood, from a trademark war in Denver to a religious debate in Jerusalem, the cheeseburger has traveled an unbelievable road. When I learned this story, I realized something. We often look for genius in complexity. We want the 50-ingredient sauce, the impossible cooking technique. But the cheeseburger teaches us that true genius is often just completion. It's finding the one thing that was missing. The hamburger was a staple. The cheeseburger is a meal. It's comfort. It's the bite that says everything is going to be okay. This one idea, born from a teenager's mistake or a homeless man's request, didn't just add cheese to meat. It added joy to the menu. It turned a quick bite into a craving. It conquered the world, not by being fancy, but by being perfect. Which invention should we sink our teeth into next? The French fry? The chocolate chip cookie? Let me know in the comments below. I read them all. If you enjoyed this cheesy story, smash that like button, subscribe to the InventIQ so you never miss another hidden history, and hit the bell so you're always invited to the party. Thanks for watching, and next time you lift that warm, gooey, perfect cheeseburger to your mouth, remember the kid in Pasadena.